Silky and Penelope, and What They Did to Me, by Brenda Jill. Silky and Penelope were spiders in my fairy tree. They were very tricky, and they spun a web for me. They did not like me much at all, for I was tall, and they were very, very small. And they were scared that with a touch I'd brush them off, and they would fall. Oh no, they did not like me much at all. They spun their web so skillfully I could not see it in the light. It vanished from my sight, and then they hid behind a leaf. It's my belief they giggled while they waited for my fright. I did not like the spiders there, living in my fairy tree. Now, the fairies, they were good to me. Each night by starlight I would see their dance, their dreams of fantasy all lit up like a Christmas tree. They would dance, and I could see. I always thought when I went to bed that the dance was just for me, although they never said to. I'd see them from my window as I was lying there. My head upon my pillow, I would turn each night and state. One by one, they'd all light up, and I could see the fairies there, making pretty patterns as they danced right in the air. All the colors of the rainbow showing, I could see them brightly glowing. And they swirled and twirled and swung and whirled and sung outside my window. Then at the end, they'd from a line and take a bow, and they were mine. And I knew how to cheer them on, to make them sing another song, for I would ring my fairy bell, and that would tell the fairies there that they could do this all night long. Oh, how I miss my fairy friends. They don't come out to come dance for me, since Silky and Penelope have moved into my fairy tree. Inside the tree they hid from me, and even locked their door. I ring my bell to try to tell them, come and play some more. Although I still don't know your names, I love to see you fairy games. But all it did was wake my dad, and he was mad for I was bad, for playing toys and making noise while he was sleeping in his bed. He stuck his head in through my door, and it's a bore, but this is what he said. You're in this room to slept, my dear, and if another peep I hear, I'll get a broom and sweep you toys so far away. No girls and boys will want to come into your empty room to play. Then after that, I did not dare to try to ring my fairy bell. Things were not working very well, while Silky and Penelope were living in my fairy tree. This has to end, said my tree. I thought that this was just because she was my special friend and liked to see me happy when I headed off to bed, but now she saw me weep instead of drifting deeply off to sleep. The visions of my fairies there, all dancing in the starlight air, would keep away the nightmare fright from scaring me awake at night. The nightmare was a big bad horse who flew on shimmering shadowy beams and tried to steal my pleasant dreams of swings and songs and sing-alongs and happy days and sunny plays with wishing bones and ice cream cones. My mother said, now would you please not eat that cheese before you go to bed? To me it seems it brings bad dreams and puts them in your head. It's not a dream, you see, I said, caused twice before or maybe more. The nightmare came to me in bed. She was not only in my head, but she was real, for I could feel her breathing hot upon my face. She pressed on me with bended knee and fought and caught me in my place. But that was long ago, before my fairy friends moved in next door, into my fairy tree. And oh, I've been so happy when I've been sent to bed, until now. But anyhow, that is not the reason why the fairy tree, my friend, has said. This spider thing has got to end. All night the fairies danced inside her, to hide their magic from the spiders. She simply could not sleep. My fairy tree waited many a day for the merry winds to come out and play and drive the spiders from their keep. And then one day she got so mad, I think it was from lack of sleep, but I was sad when I heard her say, this has to end or I won't be your friend. But the merry winds had gone to sea and never came over to play with me or with my crabby fairy tree. and Silky and Penelope would hide from me inside my tree. Then every time that I came out and tried to see what this was really all about, I could hear them laughing there. And even though I'd sit and stare, I could not see them hiding there. My fairy tree just would not talk at all to me today, and so I turned to walk away, but not without a backward shout to Silky and Penelope, "I'll get you yet." And then, I think, but I forget, that's when I stumbled on a rock and tumbled right into their net. Then everything became a blur of silken strands that felt like hands of elastic bands, and I was wrapped from head to toe with sticky stuff that seemed like dough, but stuck so well like glue, that if that wasn't bad enough, that smell was awful too. That's Silky and Penelope. I knew that they were watching me and laughing at me gleefully. I just broke down and cried. I tried to hide the trickling tears that had begun to slide. I really tried to give no place to fears and tears or jeers and cheers, but maybe just a little trace of tears were tickling my face. To dream the dreams of wishing wells and magic spells is not all that it seems, I fear, for I might be here year and years all tangled in the spider's web, dreaming dreams of hopes and fears. But just as I began to wish that I were safely tucked away inside my cozy bed, a darkened shadow flowed overhead. The nightmare showed instead. "You want to ride with me," she said. "I'll set you free and we can go away and play. Then every night and every day, we'll steal some happy dreams away and eat the midnight hay." "Oh no," I said, "I could not go with you today. It would not be my sort of play to steal the happy dreams away." I thought it rather brave of me to speak to her this way, but the nightmare didn't notice, and she settled down to stay. Silky and Penelope got such a dreadful scare from the frightful sight of that nightmare, wanting to play in such a nasty way in the cold gray light of that dismal day, that without a shout or even a moan, they looked at each other and turned into stone, and we were left alone. Just me and that bad horse were there, and I was afraid that she would force me to fly away with her somewhere. It gave me such a spooky scare, for I was trapped and hanging there, wrapped and dangling, right in the air, stuck in the silky, sticky web, all tangled in the spider's lair. I still heard nothing from my friend, my tree. I thought it was the end for me. I'm sorry to say it happened this way. Because of my fears, I lost my cool and shed my pool of watery tears that day. The nightmare rested by my tree. It seemed that she was testing me. She knew I did not want to go. I just kept shaking my head no. I just don't like that kind of play, and surely don't eat midnight hay. I was shivering and shaking. All my bones had started aching, and every part of me was sore. I knew that I could not be taking too much of this when suddenly I heard a sound, like a giant roar and a splendid hiss, the opening of the fairy door. I think I flooded out their floor, for the fairies all came dripping out, all sopping wet and hopping about, but when they saw me in my plight, they danced their enchantment to put things right, splashing on the nightmare there, and sprinkling sparkles in the air. Fairy dust and sleigh tears make nightmare disappear for years. The fairies sing like bluebells ringing, echoing on wings of songs, and when they dance in the daylight hour, their fairy power is oh so strong. The nightmare then looked a silly sight as she flapped her wings with all her might, and by mistake she chanced to take the sticky spider's web along. As she pulled it from the tree, she quite by accident set me free. I fell right into my pool of tears. It seemed like years ago I shed, but I was laughing now instead. With joy I gazed as the nightmare raised into the darkened sky, and as the nightmare passed me by, I heard her give a mournful cry, "I won't be coming back again, for fairies give me so much pain." Then suddenly my mother came out, and she began to loudly shout, "Your clothes are wet, you get inside." Then all the fairies ran to hide. And to this day I'll not forget the sadness and regret I feel. I did not thank the fairies then. Though no one knows my fairy friends, they all are very real. While still each night I hear them sing and watch them do their fairy dance, I never see them play by day. It was my only chance. But very soon, one day at noon, the merry winds blew from the sea and dried my neary pool for me. My fairy tree has once agreed to be my special friend, and so you see this is the end.